Right now, someone in the world is having a stroke, and they might not even know it. Every 40 seconds, someone in the United States has a stroke. Every 4 minutes, someone dies from one. But here's the thing. If you recognize the warning signs fast enough, you can save someone's life. You can save their ability to walk, to talk, to recognize their own family. In this video, I'm going to teach you the 5 warning signs of a stroke using a simple acronym that could make you a hero. F.A.S.T. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to spot a stroke and what to do. This information could save someone you love. Let's dive in. Before we talk about the warning signs, you need to understand what a stroke actually is. A stroke happens when blood flow to part of your brain gets interrupted. Either a blood vessel gets blocked by a clot, or a blood vessel bursts and bleeds into the brain. Without blood flow, brain cells don't get oxygen. And unlike other cells in your body, brain cells are extremely sensitive. They start dying within minutes. Every minute that passes during a stroke, approximately 1.9 million brain cells die. That's why we say, time is brain. The faster you recognize a stroke and get treatment, the more brain tissue you can save, the better the outcome. There are 2 main types of strokes. Ischemic stroke. This is when a blood clot blocks an artery in the brain. This accounts for about 87% of all strokes. Hemorrhagic stroke. This is when a blood vessel in the brain ruptures and bleeds. Less common, but often more severe. Regardless of the type, the warning signs are similar. And that's where F.A.S.T comes in. F.A.S.T is an acronym that helps you remember the most common warning signs of a stroke. F stands for face, A stands for arms, S stands for speech, T stands for time. Let me walk you through each one. F is for face drooping. This is often the first thing people notice during a stroke. One side of the person's face suddenly starts drooping or feels numb. When they try to smile, their smile is uneven. One side doesn't move properly. Here's how to test it. Ask the person to smile. Look closely at their face. Are both sides moving equally, or is one side drooping, frozen, or not responding? If one side of the face is drooping, that's a red flag. It means the part of the brain that controls facial muscles on that side isn't getting blood flow. This can happen suddenly. One moment the person looks normal. The next, their face looks like it's melting on one side. Sometimes the person can feel it happening. They might notice their face feels numb or strange. Other times they're completely unaware. That's why bystanders recognizing this sign is so critical. A is for ARM weakness. During a stroke, one arm or leg suddenly becomes weak or numb, usually on one side of the body. Here's the test. Ask the person to raise both arms above their head and hold them there for 10 seconds. Watch carefully. Does one arm drift downward? Does one arm feel weaker? Can they not lift one arm at all? If one arm drifts down or can't be raised, that's a major warning sign. This happens because the stroke is affecting the motor cortex, the part of the brain that controls movement. When blood flow to one side of the motor cortex is interrupted, the opposite side of the body becomes weak or paralyzed. Left side of brain affected equals right side of body weak. Right side of brain affected equals left side of body weak. Sometimes the weakness is subtle. The person might drop something unexpectedly, or have trouble buttoning a shirt, or their handwriting suddenly becomes messy. Other times it's dramatic. The arm goes completely limp, the leg gives out, and the person collapses. S is for speech difficulty. This is one of the most recognizable signs of a stroke. The person might suddenly have trouble speaking. Their words come out slurred, garbled, or incomprehensible, like they're drunk even though they haven't been drinking. Or they might have trouble understanding what you're saying. You ask them a simple question and they look confused, or give a completely unrelated answer. Or they might know what they want to say but can't get the words out. This is called aphasia. Here's the test. Ask the person to repeat a simple sentence. Something like, "The sky is blue," or "You can't teach an old dog new tricks." Listen carefully. Can they repeat it clearly? Or are the words slurred, jumbled, or wrong? Also pay attention to comprehension. Do they understand what you're asking? Or do they seem confused and disoriented? Speech problems during a stroke happen because the language centers of the brain, usually in the left hemisphere, aren't getting enough blood. This can be terrifying for the person experiencing it. Imagine knowing what you want to say but being completely unable to speak, or hearing people talk but not understanding a single word. T is for time to call 911. If you see any of these signs, even if they seem minor or temporary, call 911 immediately. Do not wait. Do not drive the person to the hospital yourself. Call 911. Here's why time is so critical. There's a treatment for ischemic stroke called TPA, tissue plasminogen activator. It's a clot-busting drug that can dissolve the blockage and restore blood flow. But it has a very narrow window. It must be given within 3 to 4.5 hours of symptom onset. The sooner the better. For some patients, there are other interventions like mechanical thrombectomy, where doctors physically remove the clot. This can be effective up to 24 hours after symptom onset in certain cases. But the key is getting to the hospital fast. The paramedics can alert the stroke team so they're ready when you arrive. They can start assessment in the ambulance. They can take you to a hospital equipped to handle strokes. Every minute you delay, another 1.9 million brain cells die. So if you see face drooping, arm weakness, or speech difficulty, it's time to call 911. Now, F.A.S.T covers the most common warning signs. But there are other symptoms you should know about. Sudden severe headache with no known cause. Often described as the worst headache of your life. This can indicate a hemorrhagic stroke or a ruptured aneurysm. Sudden trouble seeing in one or both eyes. Blurred vision, double vision, or complete loss of vision in one eye. Sudden trouble walking. Dizziness, loss of balance, or lack of coordination. Feeling like the room is spinning. Sudden confusion or trouble understanding. Not knowing where you are, what day it is, or who people are. Any of these symptoms, especially if they come on suddenly, could indicate a stroke. Now let's talk about who is at risk. Anyone can have a stroke, even children and young adults, but certain factors increase your risk. Age. Risk increases after age 55 and doubles each decade after that. High blood pressure. This is the single biggest risk factor. It damages blood vessels over time. Smoking. Doubles your stroke risk. Diabetes. High blood sugar damages blood vessels. High cholesterol leads to plaque buildup in arteries, obesity, and lack of exercise. Previous stroke or TIA. If you've had one, you're at higher risk for another. Family history. Stroke can run in families. Atrial fibrillation. This irregular heartbeat can cause blood clots that travel to the brain. The good news? Many of these risk factors are controllable. Here's how to reduce your risk. Control your blood pressure. Get it checked regularly. Take medication if prescribed. Don't smoke. If you do smoke, quit. This is one of the most important things you can do. Exercise regularly. Aim for 30 minutes of moderate activity most days. Eat a healthy diet. Lots of fruits, vegetables, whole grains. Limit salt, saturated fat, and processed foods. Maintain a healthy weight. Manage diabetes if you have it. Keep blood sugar controlled. Treat atrial fibrillation. Your doctor may prescribe blood thinners to prevent clots. Limit alcohol. Heavy drinking increases stroke risk. Know your numbers. Blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar. Work with your doctor to keep them in healthy ranges. Now, there's one more thing you should know about. It's called a TIA, or transient ischemic attack, sometimes called a mini-stroke. A TIA has the same symptoms as a stroke: face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. But the symptoms go away on their own within a few minutes to hours. The blood clot dissolves or moves, and blood flow is restored before permanent damage occurs. Here's the critical thing. A TIA is a warning sign. It means you're at very high risk for a major stroke in the near future. About 1 in 3 people who have a TIA will have a major stroke within a year, many within 48 hours. So even if the symptoms go away, you still need to call 911. You still need to get evaluated. Doctors can identify the cause and start treatments to prevent a major stroke. Never ignore a TIA. It's your brain's way of sending up a red flare saying, "Help, I'm in danger." Let me tell you why recognizing these signs matters so much. Stroke is the leading cause of serious long-term disability. It's the number 5 cause of death. But it's also largely preventable and treatable if caught early. When someone has a stroke and gets treatment quickly, they have a much better chance of recovery. They're more likely to walk again, talk again, live independently. When treatment is delayed, the damage is often permanent. Paralysis, loss of speech, memory problems, personality changes, dependence on others for basic activities. The difference between a good outcome and a devastating outcome often comes down to minutes. So knowing F.A.S.T. and acting on it doesn't just save lives, it saves quality of life. Let's recap everything. F.A.S.T. stands for F. Face drooping. Ask them to smile. Is one side drooping? A. Arm weakness. Ask them to raise both arms. Does one drift down? Speech difficulty. Ask them to repeat a simple sentence. Is speech slurred or strange? Time to call 911. If you see any of these signs, call immediately. Other warning signs include sudden severe headache, vision problems, trouble walking, or confusion. Even if symptoms go away, call 911. It could be a TIA, which is a warning of an impending major stroke. Time is brain. Every minute counts. I want you to do something for me. Share this video with your family, especially elderly parents or grandparents. Share it with friends. Teach them fast. Make sure they know the signs. Because one day, you or someone you know might be in a situation where recognizing these signs could mean the difference between life and death, between recovery and permanent disability. Knowledge is power, and in the case of stroke, knowledge saves lives. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button. Subscribe to Med Simplified for more life-saving medical education. Drop a comment below. Have you or someone you know experienced a stroke? What was it like? Your story could help others recognize the signs. Thank you for watching. Stay healthy, stay informed, and remember, FAST could save a life.